She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her.
Hello, today I will be showing you how to make a Polaroid painting with watercolor. With so much free time on our hands, I'm sure we can paint, right? To start out, I divided a sheet of vertical paper in half. After that, I turned the paper onto its side and divided the paper up into 4 equal sections. I am using a paper cutter to make sure that the lines are straight, but if you don't have a paper cutter, you can always just use a pair of scissors and cut the paper. After cutting out all the pieces of paper, you should have a total of 8 from one sheet of paper. Now I'm making measurements for the Polaroid, so from the top you can measure 1/8 of an inch on both sides of the paper. After I made the mark, I am just turning my paper onto its side and making a straight line down. I am also making a 1/4 inch line on the left side of the paper, and that will be the top part of the Polaroid. After that, I am making the bottom part of the Polaroid, and I'm just leaning the ruler against it to be the width of the ruler. The exact measurement for that is 1 1/8 inch. I will also leave all the measurements in the description box below, so if you want to make this, you can also check that out. Now I'm taping the paper down and erasing the extra pencil marks on the side. For the first painting, I am sketching out a cafe, but of course you can do whatever painting you like. I am also using a ruler to make straighter lines. To outline the drawing, I am using a 0.25mm micro marker. For the finer details, I am using a 0.2mm micro marker. After outlining everything, I am erasing the pencil marks. I am using watercolor today, but you can use any medium you want. I'm starting off by painting the walls beige. The paper started becoming too saturated, so I am blotting the excess water off. I am going in with a dark brown to color the tabletop. For darker colors like this, I make sure to start off light so that I can build up the colors. For the round table next to it, I am coloring it a different shade of brown. This is supposed to be a coffee brown, but the camera doesn't really pick that up. After the first layer dries, I am just going in with the same colors but a bit darker. For the couch, I went for an olive green color. For the chair next to that, I went for an aqua color. For the wall trim, I painted it kind of like an orange brownish color. I went in with another shade of brown to color the table to give it more shadow. At this point, I felt that the painting was still on the lighter side and I wanted to become more darker, so I started building up more darker pigments. For the hanging plants in the background, I am going in with a green. I like to make each individual layer dry first before adding the next layer to minimize the paint from blending together too much. Painting with watercolors can be time-consuming sometimes because you have to wait for each of the layers to dry, but the end result is really pretty. I made some more adjustments to the painting until it has reached the way I like. After letting the paint dry completely, I am peeling off the tape. Also, make sure your paper is completely dry before removing the tape, or else you might risk ripping your paper. I recommend ripping off the paper slowly so you minimize the chance of ripping your paper. And this is how the painting turned out. I think it's very cute, and this is the hardest it can get. For the next painting, I am doing a sunset silhouette. I started out by painting the background yellow on the bottom, and for the middle I did some orange. For the top part of the paper, I went in with red, and I just blended in the colors together so that it doesn't look too choppy. To make the overall painting a slightly darker, I went in with a magenta type of color for the red part. To make the silhouette of the grass, I am going in with a Tombow brush pen. I am starting from the bottom and flicking my wrist up to make the grass effect. I also made some bird silhouettes as well. After letting the whole painting dry, I started peeling off the tape. You can see that there's some pencil marks left over, but you can always erase that after. This is the end result of how it turned out. I think this is very simple and it only requires 3 colors. For the final one, I am doing a galaxy painting. I started off by painting most of the corner of the paper black. After that, I went in with some purple in the center area, but also leaving some part of the paper white. I also went in with some blue color as well. After the first layer was dried, I went in with a second coat of black.
It's not for me to say.
I repeated the second coat with more purple, and I later I also added a bit more blue. After all the layers has dried, I am using a paintbrush and dipping it in some white paint and flicking it so that it creates the star effect. After you are satisfied with how your painting turned out, you can start ripping off the tape. And this is how my painting turned out. You can see that there's some bleeding on the side, and if you don't like that, you can always cover it with some white acrylic paint, but I didn't mind it, so I just left it. These are the 3 paintings that I did today. I hope you like how it turned out. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for future videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.